जिंदाबाद अपनी MSO जिंदाबाद 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 अपनी
Enlightenment meaning, the modern ideas of rationality, of so-called secularism. So Ibn Rushd remains a key. Many people don't know. They think that, Enlightenment, liberalism, rationality are all European ideas. But ideas always emerge out of interaction. And people who are into philosophy know that these ideas emerged out of interaction between Europeans and Arabs and North Africans and South Asians. Many a times, even Arabs don't know about these histories. Okay, so now coming back to Europe. So how did Europe emerge out of those dark ages and enter into an era of Enlightenment and secularism? So this started happening once the Arabs were out, and the Italian Renaissance started happening in the 15th and the 16th century. So the first glimpses of transformation started appearing in Italy. When people started coming out of this grasp of the Catholic Church, the corruption of the Catholic Church. And this starts happening when the Latin language starts losing its grip over the masses. Now, language is key to education. Earlier on, only the elite had access to the Bible, to the scriptures, because Latin was the language in which the Bible was available. And who received education in Latin? Only the super rich, only the elite in the society. So who could read Latin? The priestly class and the elite. The common people had no access to the Bible. So they did not really know what was written in the Bible. They could not interpret the Bible. They just had to accept what was written, what was told to them. They couldn't interpret it, and they just had to accept whatever was told to them. So things started changing only when Dante, for the first time, started writing plays in what is known as the vulgar language, meaning the language of the masses. Dante himself is a notorious figure. Dante was an Islamophobe. If you read his plays, they are highly provocative and insulting to the Prophet and to Islam. But he's considered really important in transforming Europe and moving it towards what is now understood as secularism. Why? Because he was transformative in the sense that he moved Europe's literature from being within the realm of the bourgeoisie, the elite, by taking it away from them and making it colloquial, making it in the language of the masses. So Dante becomes a very important figure. We also see the emergence of humanism and humanistic study at that point of time. So for the first time, we see people having the bravery of studying human beings. Up till the 15th century, you could not study even human beings. You could only engage in the study of God and what was there in the Bible. So Europe was a very confined and a problematic space, a very problematic geography, where all education, all studies were confined to religion and religiosity. And any education which was beyond religion was seen as problematic and heretic. So for the first time, we see the emergence of humanism and humanistic study. We also see the emergence of empirical studies in Britain. These are very simple changes that are happening, but they are important in the emergence of secularism. Empirical studies over here means evidence-based studies. So for the first time, at this point of time, we see the emergence of evidence-based studies. When you are thinking about religion-based studies, you don't need evidence, you simply need faith. Religion is based on faith. But for the first time, we see the emergence of empirical studies in Britain at this point of time. And then Copernicus comes up with the heliocentric system studies. So these are all massive changes that are taking place. And 17th century, we see the emergence of physics and mathematics. By this time, the Arabs are studying algebra, you know. They are far well ahead of algebra. They have designed algorithms. You know, today we are all using computers. Who are the people who created algorithms? Algorithms are based on algebra, and the Arabs have created those. But the Europeans were doing physics and mathematics only in the 17th century. So, you know, these are major changes. Now we come to massive transformation in religion and move away from the Catholic Church, which created the grounds for secularism in Europe. And this happens with the invention of the printing press in Europe. Printing press was already existing in China. Probably it was some kind of piracy that happened from China to Europe. But in any case, printing press arrives in Germany first in the late 15th century. Printing press also means that you can print stuff, print pamphlets, and spread out message relating to religion and ensure that people get messages, people get to read stuff. People get to read stuff. So printing press becomes really important in secularization or transformation of society. So Bible was started getting published in the vernacular language. A key person who leads to the transformation of religion and transformation of Christianity is Martin Luther. And this is the picture of Martin Luther over here that you see in this slide. He's the one who takes people away, quite a substantial section of the population, away from the Catholic Church. Martin Luther is a very, very important and a powerful figure. You know, today a lot of people are Protestant. So Martin Luther is a key figure. Martin Luther, however, has vitriolic hatred against Jews. So you could call him a key anti-Semite. He hated the Jews. He also disliked Muslims, but his dislike for Catholics and Jews far outweighed his hatred towards Muslims. He hated Muslims less than he hated Jews and Catholics, strangely. But in any case, he is the key person as far as Christian Reformation is concerned, and creation of the Protestant faith is concerned. Now, out of that emerged Calvinism. Calvinism is key. Now, this is where I want you to see the parallel between the creation importance of capitalism, creation of what is now known as Protestant faith, and some of you who are familiar with the Islamic theology will also see parallels between Islam and Protestant Calvinist rationality. But then Calvinism gets attached to what is known as secularism. So this is a very key moment that I want you to understand. To understand Calvinism's morality and its relationship to creation of rationality, I want you to sort of understand that there are certain ideas in any religion. Ideas and imaginaries make a religion. Out of all ideas and imaginations comes out interpretations. You know, all religions have ideas and imaginations, but they are interpreted differently. And all these interpretations have what is known as social consequences. So one of the key idea of Calvinism, now Calvinism comes out of the teaching of a preacher by the name of John Calvin. John Calvin is a key figure in the Protestant faith. His followers are the people who were the first migrants to the United States. They are the people who came to Massachusetts, to New York. They are the people who settled all over the northeastern part of America. They are the people who were really powerful in England. They are the people who built the Harvard University, the Brown University, the topmost universities in the world. They are the people who built the Oxford and the Cambridge. So wherever there are Calvinists are places where there are the topmost universities in the world. Okay. So that's why they are very, very important. They are associated with the scientific temperament and the scientific rationality. Wherever there are Calvinists are the epicenters of global capitalism, global commerce, and global trade. But they were so, and they are also sort of very powerful in the Protestant ethics and values, and so that's why it's really important to understand their rationality. So when we think about John Calvin's teachings, very important in the Protestant faith, the ideas, his key ideas are really important to understand. How it's interpreted is important to understand, and what are its social consequences. So one key idea is predestination. What predestination over here simply means is that God already knows whether you're going to go to heaven or hell. Your faith is predestined. Catholicism was different. You have to understand, Catholicism basically meant, you come and confess to the priest that you have committed sin, and the priest can forgive you, and that can determine whether you will go to heaven or hell. What you do on earth can determine whether you will go to heaven or hell. But in Calvinism, it's different. Before you're born, before you know, God knows whether you're going to go to heaven or hell. So it's already predetermined who you're going to be. No act of yours on earth can determine what your future, your hereafter is going to be. That is what predestination means. Now, this created what is known as existential angst amongst the Calvinists, that if God already knows whether I'm going to go to heaven or hell, then how is there a sign? Is there a way to know what my future will be, what my hereafter will be? So the sign is, if you make a lot of profit, if you are successful on earth, then probably that's a sign that you will go to heaven. It's very strange, but if you make profits, if you are successful in this earth, then probably that's a sign. So it's interpreted as, if you make profits, if you make money, if you're successful as a businessman, or if you're successful in whatever you do, then probably you are headed towards heaven. But you cannot be pompous and throw wealth around. So even while being successful, you have to be austere. You cannot throw your wealth around. You have to be austere.